and welcome back to my my channel. Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a really important one. I'm going to be talking about Trove. So I've been meaning, I thought I'd made a dedicated video about Trove, but I actually looked back through my channel and I can't see one. I feel like I've definitely touched on it in a lot of videos though. So if you're an Australian researcher, you will know Trove. You'll definitely know Trove. Trove is, in my opinion, the most important resource for Australian research, whether it's history or family history. It is the most incredible thing. If you ask me to name like a #1 resource that anyone who's starting out researching their family history should use, it would be Trove. So Trove, for those of you who don't know, or if you're not Australian, it's a website which it's free to use, and it's got millions, I think it's 14 million records. It's got newspapers and things like that. The newspapers are honestly the most valuable part for me, but it's got all sorts of stuff on there. And I know that there's sort of other countries have, you know, newspaper online resources, but I promise nothing even comes close to Trove. Trove is the best resource that I've ever seen online for any kind of family history research. I cannot overstate how amazing Trove is. And that brings me to my sad news, which if you've been paying attention in Australia, you might already know that Trove is under serious threat at the moment. So the federal government has not committed to funding Trove after the 30th of June this year. This doesn't mean that they're definitely not going to, but they have failed to sort of make that commitment. And therefore, as of the 30th of June this year, it looks like the plug is going to be pulled on Trove unless someone comes in at the 11th hour. So the National Library of Australia sort of runs Trove, and they have said that without the funding, the website's going down. So it's not that they're just going to stop uploading to it, it'll actually disappear. This is incredibly bad news. If you're an Australian, or you research anyone in Australia, or you ever think that you might research anyone in Australia, this is terrible news. This website, like I said, I can't overstate how important it is. The idea that the government are going to pull the plug is horrifying. So I just looked it up and I was wrong. It's not millions of items. They hold over 14 billion items on this website that is freely accessible to anybody. You don't even need to log in. Anyone can use it. So I'm going to give you some very painful quotes right now just to show you what's going on exactly. So on the 28th of February 2023, the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations and Minister for the Arts, that's Tony Burke MP, was asked, "There's a concern about Trove being shut down at the National Library. We all use Trove. We need it to search for historical information. Can you offer any assurance to the people at Trove and the National Library that they might have a chance of getting some help in the May budget?" And the minister's response was, buckle up. He said, "Okay, well, the first thing is that the budget decision hasn't been made. We were left with a situation where the previous government has decided that Trove funding would expire on the 30th of June this year. Trove is extremely important, the work blah 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 blah. The 2014 budget cut saw funding for Trove cut for a period of time, and then with the previous government resumed funding for Trove. They did it on a time-limited basis." I don't know anyone who uses Trove who thinks it's a time-limited service in terms of its requirement. "The decision hasn't been made, but it is fair to say that Labor has always had a commitment to the cultural institutions. I think we showed that when we launched Revive in terms of cultural policy generally, but the previous government has run them down, and with Trove, they have run it straight up to a brick wall of funding where it all stops on the 30th of June. So that's probably as much as I can offer in advance of there being a budget decision." What a load of waffle was that. First thing, blaming the previous government. They all do it, but it's so ridiculous. Oh, the previous government said that the funding, so what? So what? You can reinstate the funding now. You can't blame the previous government. And if anything, it sounds like the previous government reinstated the funding to Trove. So I'm not sure of all of the history of it, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But as far as I can see, this guy's passing the buck, trying to blame the previous government. You're in power now, you fix it. So I was thinking about it. And I don't know if it's like this in other countries, but when you vote here, and PS, I did not vote for this guy. But when you vote, there's all these like obscure little parties. Like if you read over the ballot paper, and if you don't, we've got the two sort of major parties, the Labour Party and the Liberal Party, who are, you know, sort of, what do you call it? Liberal and conservative, if that. Anyway, if you look at the rest of the ballot paper, which me as a curious person, I always do, there's always all these little obscure kind of parties as well. Like there's like the 3-day weekend party, and there's like the no parking meters party. Like there's all these other ones that people can vote for. I would vote for the Trove party. If someone ran for politics and this was their only platform, we want Trove funded, and we want it funded well, I would vote for that. And probably every other genealogist would too. And everyone interested in history or Australian history or local history would too. I wish they'd said this one ahead of the federal election, because it would have actually been a point that some people would have been concerned about. Who to vote for? Who's promising funding for Trove? Anyway, I'm not going to go on a political rant, but as far as I'm concerned, the whole lot of them are us. So the actual best thing that you can do to help is to write to your local MP. Find out who your local federal member is and write to them and say, I'm a family historian, or I'm a historian, or whatever I am, and I use Trove all the time. I love Trove, and Trove being funded and staying online is so important to me. You let your local member know that, and the more people that do that, this is going to help. The only other thing that you can really do is to try to raise awareness, get people to write about it, get people to talk about it, get it out there so that there's pressure on the government to reinstate the funding. And that's about all we can do. I mean, there are other options. No, we're not going to go there yet, but you never know. All right, that's about it for this video. Let's all hope that Trove stays online, because we love it. We can't live without it, honestly. And meanwhile, you should probably jump onto Trove and get as much as you can out of it right now, because if it does go down, you might as well get everything you can from it before it goes down, before the end of June. Go back through your family tree, look up everyone's names, see what you can find, add it in there, because it would just be devastating if it goes down. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon. I've actually just moved house. As you can see, I'm in a new location. I'll be moving again quite soon, so that was why there was a bit of a gap between my videos, but I'm trying to keep it on the regular now again. I hope you're having a good one, whatever you are doing, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.